Welcome back to The Lost Tactician, where history reveals the survival secrets modern science struggles to replicate. Imagine, if you will, a weathered fence collapsing after a decade of rain, a treated deck splintering beneath your feet, or pressure-treated lumber rotting from the inside out, even with all its chemical protection. Now just think about wood that has defied rot, water, and those freezing Nordic winters for, well, over 800 years. No synthetic sealants, no industrial treatments, just the raw ingenuity of Viking craftsmen who, honestly, understood nature's chemistry better than we do today. This is the story of how ancient Norsemen achieved what modern engineering cannot. Wood preservation that transcends centuries using methods we've, frankly, criminally forgotten. If you stand in any hardware store these days, you'll find aisles and aisles of chemical preservatives promising longevity, copper-based treatments, chromated arsenicals, petroleum-derived stains that claim decade-long protection. Yet archaeological sites all across Scandinavia tell a different story. Medieval stave churches built in the 11th and 12th centuries still stand with their original timbers intact, their dark wood aged but still structurally sound. The Ørnes Stave Church in Norway, constructed around 1130, showcases wooden components that have survived nearly 9 centuries of brutal Nordic weather, temperatures dropping to -40, relentless moisture and freeze-thaw cycles that would honestly obliterate modern treated lumber within just a few decades. The contrast is, well, stark and humbling. Our pressure-treated posts rot in 20 years. Their naturally preserved pillars endure for 800. The real question isn't whether Viking methods worked, it's why on earth we abandoned them. When archaeologists excavate Viking longhouses and ship burials, they consistently discover wood in remarkable condition. The Oseberg ship, buried in 834 AD and excavated in 1904, revealed oak planking so well preserved that the intricate carvings remained crisp and clear after more than a millennium underground. These weren't isolated miracles, not at all. From Iceland to Sweden, Viking-era structures display wood that just confounds modern expectations. Researchers examining these ancient timbers found something peculiar: a dark, resinous coating that penetrated deep into the grain, not just sitting on the surface like modern stains. Chemical analysis revealed organic compounds, derived from pine resin, but the sophistication of applications suggested a deliberate, refined process far beyond just painting tar onto boards. The Vikings hadn't just discovered a preservative, they had mastered a complete wood treatment philosophy that began in the forest and ended with structures defying time itself. The core of Viking wood preservation was pine tar, extracted through a process called destructive distillation. In remote forests, craftsmen built specialized tar kilns, earthen mounds with carefully controlled airflow where split pine logs smoldered at precise temperatures. As the wood heated without fully burning, resinous compounds liquefied and dripped into collection vessels. This wasn't crude pitch. It was nature's polymer, a complex mixture of organic acids, phenols, and hydrocarbons that penetrated wood cellular structures at the molecular level. The Vikings heated this tar until it reached ideal viscosity, then applied it hot, brushing it deep into the grain, where it bonded with lignin and cellulose. Unlike modern surface coatings that eventually peel and crack, pine tar integrated with the wood itself, creating a hydrophobic barrier that repelled water while allowing the timber to breathe and expand naturally. Some craftsmen mixed train oil, rendered from whale, seal, or porpoise blubber, into the tar, creating an even more flexible, weather-resistant compound. Others added beeswax for additional waterproofing on ship hulls. The application wasn't just a one-time treatment, but a ritual repeated seasonally, building layers of protection that honestly grew stronger over the years. Pine tar alone wasn't the complete answer. Viking wood preservation succeeded because it represented a total understanding of timber from tree to structure. Craftsmen felled trees in winter when sap had retreated into roots, leaving wood fibers dry and dense. They left logs to season for years, sometimes up to 7, allowing natural sugars to leach out and resins to harden, creating timber naturally resistant to fungal decay and insect invasion. When finally shaping the wood, Vikings never sawed, sawing cuts across the grain, severing the natural fibers and creating pathways for moisture infiltration. Instead, they rived, split wood along its natural grain using wedges and mallets. This technique produced planks where every fiber ran unbroken from end to end, creating wood that was stronger, more flexible, and fundamentally impermeable to water. For posts destined for ground contact, they employed charring, scorching the surface with controlled fire to create a carbon layer that insects and bacteria couldn't penetrate, a technique now known in Japan as shusugiban. Every step reinforced the next, creating a preservation system where the whole exceeded the sum of its parts. The environmental elegance of Viking methods stands in sharp contrast to modern wood treatment industries. Contemporary pressure-treated lumber involves forcing toxic compounds, copper, chromium, arsenic derivatives, deep into wood under extreme pressure. These chemicals leach into soil and groundwater, accumulate in ecosystems, and render the wood itself hazardous waste when disposed of. Viking preservation used only substances nature already produced: pine resin, animal fats, beeswax, nothing toxic, nothing persistent. When Viking structures eventually collapsed, their components returned to Earth without contaminating it. This wasn't primitive technology, it was sophisticated bioengineering achieved without laboratories or chemical synthesis. Today, niche craftsmen and traditional boat builders are rediscovering these methods, producing pine tar in reconstructed kilns, and treating wood with centuries-old techniques. Their results confirm what archaeology already proved. Properly applied natural preservatives outperform modern chemicals in longevity and structural integrity. The Vikings didn't view wood preservation as a chemical problem requiring synthetic solutions. They understood it as a relationship between material, environment, and time, a philosophy modern engineering has forgotten in its rush toward industrial efficiency. Their methods demand patience, years seasoning timber, hours rendering tar, careful attention to grain and application. But the reward is wood that transcends human lifespans, structures that become generational legacies rather than disposable commodities. In an era confronting chemical pollution and environmental degradation, perhaps the most revolutionary act is looking backward, embracing the wisdom our ancestors perfected through centuries of observation and refinement. If this journey into forgotten craftsmanship resonated with you, hit that like button and share this video with anyone fascinated by how history challenges modern assumptions. Subscribe to The Lost Tactician for more explorations into the survival techniques, tactical ingenuity, and environmental wisdom that defined human resilience across centuries. Until next time, remember, the solutions to tomorrow's challenges often lie buried in yesterday's forgotten knowledge.